I think over the last 10 to 20 years, HR executives have had to learn about business. They couldn't just think about HR practices. They needed to understand how to read a balance sheet, a profit and loss, and understand the business themselves. And if you think about human resources, they've been focusing on the resources side, but not so much the human side. And I think that what we're going to see in the next 10 or 15 years is much more awareness of what truly motivates people, what truly blinds people, like in terms of bias, what limits people, like what our real capacities are for learning. I think we're going to be a lot more accurate and diligent about the basic biology of humans and work within those rules a lot better. In a similar way that, hospitals, if you go into an operating room, they all have gowns and masks, and that's not negotiable. But now also many of them have very clear checklists run by a very specific person, to make sure that you don't leave something in an operation. And that's a common practice now. And I think in a similar way, we're going to have different kinds of checklists and different kinds of language that just becomes part of doing business. That comes back to just how the brain works. Checklist is a metaphor. Let me give you an example. So these are more like common practices. So as an example, if a leader is trying to help a team be more innovative and more agile and more flexible, then the leader actually should speak last, right? Rather than share their ideas first and just get an opinion. And there's very good research that opens people up much more to speaking up. So that's a practice that should become standard practice, not just something that happens now and then. Or if you're having a virtual meeting, it should be standard practice that everyone's on camera. And in fact, the meeting is much faster and more interesting if everyone's on camera and you start to use the visuals, as opposed to what we do now where everyone's multitasking and doing other things. So you can actually make meetings much shorter, as well as more engaging and more useful with that one principle, for example. So I think as we respect the way the brain works, we will develop different protocols and different techniques for just how we work together. The Neuroleadership Summit a few weeks ago now is the annual event where we release new research on what's really important in the whole field of talent, HR, learning. And one of the big ideas that came out was the impact of power on the brain, and also the challenges of low power people actually speaking up. And we looked at how power affects the brain. It actually makes people not think so well. It makes people write off potential risks. It makes people write off details and not focus on details. And it has some very negative effects. And for leaders to be successful, they need to surround themselves with people who kind of balance out some of these issues so they don't make often fatal errors in every sense of the word. Another big finding that came out was around the whole field of unconscious bias. And there's a big question in the market, should you train people in unconscious bias? And the answer is yes and no. If you're just trying to raise awareness of bias, it doesn't really do much because people can't see their own biases no matter how much they want to. It's like seeing infrared. You can't see it, right? But if you train a team to identify biases, they actually do see them because you can see other people's bias in real time, just not your own. So if you can train a team to address bias and see bias, you actually can get a big reduction in the amount of bias over time. And we collected some data of many different organizations and what's happening there. So that was very heartening to see real change around bias being able to happen now in organizations.